It's easy to lose sleep when you're worried about your health insurance plan. But when you have a family counting on you to take care of them, having the right coverage is more important than ever. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here to help. With low to no cost plans for you and your family, so you never go it alone. That's our Anthem. Click to learn more.
What's up, party people? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. I am so stoked that all of you are here. I have been having the most amazing conversations with a lot of you about how you're loving the show and loving the people on here and how we're connecting. I love that I can bring you people on here that grow, challenge, and transform your thinking, because those are the conversations that I like to have. Now, don't forget to follow us on Straight Talk, No Sugar Added, and also Neena Perez, Neena. You know how to spell it? Perez.com, and just go on there and just ask me questions. Make sure that you follow all of my guests because they are really amazing quality people. And I found somebody for y'all. Okay. Her name is Blanca Rodriguez. She was born in New York City. She's from Puerto Rican parents. Go Puerto Rico. Okay. She's the youngest of 3 siblings. And she's also part of an Amazon best-selling book. She's a speaker. I mean, she's a massage therapist for canines as well. Hello. Okay. This woman does like all kind of things, like 25 hats. Okay. So because most of you guys that are listening are those kind of people that have like this hat for this and this hat and that hat and that, I thought she would be amazing to bring on here. So Blanca, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I am very good, and yourself. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such an honor, Neena. Wow, I'm so excited. Yes.
Good. I'm so glad you're here. I mean, you do such amazing work too. Like, I know that you volunteer a lot, and I believe that the last time we had spoken, you talked about how you even like provide services to like sexual violence survivors, like all of
Yes.
this amazing stuff that we talked about last time. So I'm like, okay, I got to have you on the show because I love people that, are doing things to impact the world, are doing things to really help the world to like, lead them to a better place. Right. And so
Mhm.
you're that person. So
Thank
Blanca,
you.
the way I love to start the show, and everybody always goes, oh God, here she goes with her question. Here it is. Who is Blanca Rodriguez? Who is she? Let us know. Who are you?
Thank you, of course. I'm Blanca. Of course, just like you said, born in New York City, raised in Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican
Awesome.
parents, and I am a very good soul, Neena.
Oh, good. I love
I
that
I ca- I
answer.
I consider myself a very good soul, and being a very good soul can be a very contagious thing. And I come from a family that I have 2 older siblings, and we are very, very close. My
Oh,
sister, my beloved sister, is my mother's caregiver. They live in Puerto Rico still. My mamita is 92 years old, and she's got
oh, it's awesome.
dementia, and my
Oh,
sister dropped everything to be her caregiver.
wow.
So being a good soul comes from a lot of people in our family. Yes, of course, like just like every family, there can be very dark experiences, but with those dark experiences, we really can take these as a good lesson to become
Yeah,
a better person in
yeah.
life. And when I was a little girl, we were in Puerto Rico. My father was in New York City. He had businesses in New York City. And the plan was for him to sell the businesses and move to Puerto Rico to be with us. And sadly, he tragically died. I was 8 years
Oh,
old at that time. And from then on, things really, really did change. There were very, very dark seasons in our culture, there was, I mean, at least at that time, there was this thing about silence, and everything is silence. You don't talk about the dead. And me being the 8-year old that I was, I didn't understand that you didn't talk about the dead, but maybe you can talk about other things. Well, I took it very literal, and I didn't talk about absolutely anything. And part
Mm,
of those dark seasons in my life included sexual assault, sexual violence, sexual harassment by an uncle. This uncle was, he had massive mental illness. And when he will be in his dark places, it will be a very, very dangerous situation. I can tell you
mhm,
that I been most likely all of my natural life surrounded by many mental illnesses, many of most of them untreated. Now is a different thing. Thank God that there's much more openness to mental illnesses. But back in my day when I was a little kid and for many years,
mhm,
mental illness was taboo. Mental illness meant horrors, and people will be scared and people will be embarrassed. And my mother had mental illness herself. So she was scared and she was embarrassed, and she was a very troubled woman. I
mhm,
love her, but she was a very, very troubled woman, and her untreated mental illness led us to very difficult times in our life. From her saying, for example, from her saying, "Oh my goodness, you are capable of doing whatever you want in life," to turning around and calling me whore, stupid, dumb. So it was basically very confusing to grow
mhm,
up in that
mhm,
kind of environment.
mm.
Definitely, definitely. You know, we have a much better relationship now, obviously, because things do change. The power of
Yeah.
forgiveness is
Mm,
infinite, and it takes us to many better, much better places. And
mhm.
all of this, it's been always part of the lesson at the end of the day. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely my truth. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, that's a very powerful, powerful story, and one that I'm sure so many of us can relate to, right? Because it was also very taboo and quiet in my house too. My stepfather was molesting me, and it was something you don't talk about. You don't talk about it. And if
Hmm.
you talked about it, you were the liar. The victim was the liar, right?
Yeah.
So it was a very tough time. So tell me, if you don't mind, like giving me your perspective as an 8-year old, or when this was all happening to you. What do you think was your survival skills? How did you start to survive all of that was happening to you?
Well, ever since the death of my beloved father, when I was 8 years old, my survival skills was the most that I remember, and all the way to this day, is the power of laughter.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, Trying to look at the bright side of things no
mhm,
matter what. And many of my family members, they are pranksters. My father was a very, very funny man. They will prank each other. My beloved uncle and second father, that I considered him, he was a very funny man, and everything will turn into laughter somehow. I remember for my father's funeral, my mom, obviously, she was totally devastated, and I went to a room and I took a whole bunch of white baby powder. I poured it all over myself. I went to my mother and I started joking around and clowning around, and that made her smile, and that made my moment. I
uh-huh,
remember it
uh-huh,
vividly like it was just the other day. And I can tell you, Nina, that laughter saved me in so many ways. Um, Not taking myself so seriously has saved me
mhm,
in many, many ways as
mhm,
well. I have always been an outdoor person. So, of course, back in that day, we were always outside and
right,
we
right,
were called, "Hey, come on over." And
right,
it's time for dinner. So, being outside, having good friends, having good male and female figures besides my mom really helped me through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, besides the point that I had an uncle that he was a very sick, twisted person, I come from a very big family. I
Yeah.
had other uncles that they were loving, caring, supportive, and I cannot thank them enough for helping me through those very dark times when I was such a young kid and I didn't even understand what was going on.
You
Yeah.
know what, though? You know what's super powerful about this is that, wow, what's super powerful about what you're saying is that, when we're all going through dark times, many of us, Blanca, I'm included, many of us will only see the dark. Will only see the dark, right? And it wasn't until I got older that I realized that I had good friends. That I had a grandfather who loved me. My grandfather was everything to me. My
Mm,
grandmother was everything to me, right? But my grandfather was like the pillar, like he was my hero.
I love
And I
that.
think it's because of those things that I survived a lot of things too, right? Because you realize that you do know you're loved, just maybe not loved with that person who's hurting you, but you're
Mm,
loved, right?
yes.
And so I love that. I want people to that heard that just now and realize, wow, she's been through a lot, to also realize that in those dark moments of our lives, because there's many, right?
Mhm.
And you were young, but even now, like if you're going through something dark, I promise you, there's also things in your life that are not dark, that are
Absolutely.
not dark. And I think
Absolutely.
I think that's what needs to kind of like come out of some of our tragedies, right? Is that, oh my God, you've been through so much. Yes, but I've been through. The point is I through. That's the key
Hmm.
word. I'm not there. I went through it,
Yes.
and I'm on the other side of it. And so I
Hmm.
love that you said that, because you not only said, okay, this tragic stuff happened to me, and it was, because it is. I mean, it is. Those type of things should not happen to children, but it
Yeah.
did, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, you were also relating at this in the same story how you had
Hmm.
amazing uncles and amazing, friends, and amazing, like, talk about a really balanced perspective. Like, yes, this was evil, but
Hmm.
this was good. This
Yes.
was good. And
Yes.
that is really uncanny usually for children to be able to see both of those sides.
Hmm.
And I think, children, as you know, are resilient. We just bounce back. It's
Hmm.
when we start to get older and we realize the damage that's been done to us, that's when you make a decision right there. Am I a
Yep.
victim,
Hmm.
or am I going to overcome this? Am I going to be a victor? Which one am I choosing? And I
Yeah.
think for a lot, I don't know if this happened to you, but for some of my life, I chose to be a victim. I
I
kept
did
doing
too.
life, but
Hmm.
I did choose to be a victim, right? Yeah.
I chose to be a victim for a very long time. Definitely, that was a long season in my life, and
Mhm.
especially when I had partners, a
Mhm.
male, this male partner, and that's when my insecurities, low self esteem, low self worth were put into manifestation the most. My
Right,
my my
right.
choices and boyfriends and partners were not the wisest ones, because definitely there was, the dark side of abuse, of silence, of
Mhm. Mhm.
not being
Mhm.
able to speak up. That's when it was put into manifestation in the worst way possible, to the
Mhm.
point that in the 80s, when there was like a big cocaine coming to the United States, and Puerto Rico was one of the a big bridge for cocaine. I was lost. I was lost,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
got really lost and in a dangerous situation. And I was with a boyfriend that was not helpful at all. But he didn't have to come to save me. I had to go save myself. So, and
Mhm.
then after him, I had another partner that he was the father of my kids. Rest in peace. He was a drug addict and he died a drug addict. So we had a codependent, very addictive relationship. But I have kids and something just clicked that. And I said to myself, something has to change, because they're not going to go through what I am going right now. They're not going to
Mm.
pay for my mess ups. So I was at a doctor's office and I was looking at a table when I saw in front of me a beautiful book called The Secret. And I couldn't resonate more with that book because my life has been full of secrets and full of silence and things, very intimate things, traumatic things that I never expressed and I never talked to anybody
Mm,
about them. And that was the beginning of my road into something much better in my life, which is self-love and
right,
self-care and
right,
giving a crap about myself. And then, because if I didn't love myself, I couldn't love my kids the way I do now.
right.
I mean, my relationship with my kids, they're adults now, but my relationships with my kids that I had before is a world away from what it is now.
Mm-hmm,
Not
mm-hmm.
only because they're adults now, is because of my own personal growth.
Right.
And I'm far away from the woman I was when I gave birth to my kids. That is for sure, because I was a very troubled woman and I understood that I needed help, that I couldn't do this alone. And I got every single book that you can imagine. I went to Marianne Williamson and Bob Proctor, Anthony Robbins. I have done them all. I went to group therapy. I went to counseling. I mean, every single outlet that you can imagine to make myself better, because I have always known, Nina, that there's always good in the midst of darkness. And that is
Right.
something that I grew up with. My mother had serious mental illness, but I had uncles that they were heaven,
Right.
and they were fantastic people that I could rely on, that I could start believing in love again because of these people. They were my
Right.
support system since I was a little girl. And I mean, they're not here now, they're in heaven, but I'm grateful to all of them, to all of
Mm-hmm,
them. And
mm-hmm.
I'm even grateful to my mom, because after mom got really sick, and she finally, when she was 79 years old, her mental illness was taken care of for the first time at 79
Wow.
years old. She went to a very dark place and she needed to go there. And then we were like, oh my God, she's not going to come out of this one. And she came out a different person. She came to us. She said a million times, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. And our relationship is much better now. And I
Wow.
adore my mother. And I cannot be more grateful to her, because besides her mental illness and many things being so messed up, I have learned a lot from my mother. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
I will cherish that for the rest of my life. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, you're pulling out so many amazing pieces here, right? Because here's a couple of things that you've already mentioned for the people who are listening and maybe going through something or haven't dealt with something. So,
Yeah.
one of the things with the secrecy and not telling anybody and all of that and keeping it hidden, that's shame. That's
Mm.
shame,
Oh,
right? And
yes.
shame is a dark cloud that just overtakes and covers everything in our life when you don't expose shame, right? It always shame needs light to be just dissipated. I
Mhm.
teach a lot on shame because shame is huge. It affects your business, it affects the way you think, it affects your leadership, it affects the way you raise your children. Shame is a huge thing. Shame and unforgiveness are best friends, they chill together. So if
Yep.
there's unforgiveness, shame is right there with it, hanging out, you know?
Mhm.
So
Absolutely. Mhm.
I love that you talked about that, but you also talked about another piece that's very important, which is self-awareness. And you talked about the fact that you said, I know I needed something. Here's the second piece to that, though. You took action,
Yes.
right? So for
Mhm.
those who are listening and are like, yeah, I need something, but you think, hey there, my amazing community of straight talkers. I just wanted to give a quick announcement because I wanted to introduce you to a transformative life coaching program that I have made exclusively for women. I want them to break free from shame and embrace their true potential so that they can build that life and business that they have always wanted. Now, our transformational coaching will guide you. We will help you. We will uncover your passion, your goals, and will develop your roadmap to success. Visit me at neenaperez.com and you can and join an amazing community of women that are on the same trajectory as you. Because I want you to create that life and business you deserve and transcend that shame and unwanted behaviors. So don't wait any longer. Visit neenaperez.com and let's embark on this journey together. Now back to the show. It's just going to change because you think it. That's not how it works. You have got to put action with your reaction. You have to, like, if you're reacting to your life situation, now it's time to take action and ownership, right?
Yes.
And so you take action and ownership and you said, okay, I'm going to go grab a book. I don't know what the secret is, but we're going to go ahead and do this. But then you went and got this certification, went to do that and did this course and did that course. And right now, and that's why you've developed into the woman you are today, because you finally decided you were going to take control of your life instead of life controlling you. Right? That's what I'm
Absolutely.
hearing out of your story. You know, I'm
Absolutely.
just hearing all of this winning mentality is what I'm hearing out of your story. And so for those who are listening and are struggling with something right now or have struggled with something, you don't have to stay there. You literally can shift it. You literally can shift your life.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
And that's the thing. I think, you know, some people, I was just speaking to a young lady today who was telling me, I feel stuck. I said, you're not stuck. You're just not making a decision, you
Without
know?
a doubt. Oh my
And she's
God.
like,
Yep.
I'm like, it's really what it is. We're not stuck. We
Yeah,
really aren't. Because if I said to you, okay, you feel stuck, I'm sorry, you want to go have ice cream? I bet you'd make a decision to go get ice cream.
absolutely.
Right? And
Immediately. Yep.
she's like, yes. I said, exactly, because you're not stuck. You
hmm
just haven't made decisions. You need to make decisions that are different
Yes.
than the decisions you have been making. Right?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
Blanca, I love that you do that. And I love that you did that for yourself. And I love that you are also pouring into others. So I want to know a little bit about that journey. When did you decide to say, you know what? I'm going to start also helping others. I'm going to also start doing something outside of me. What was that journey? And what is it that you're doing right now to impact people's lives?
Well, this is when the restart buttons can be pushed over and over and
I
over,
love that. Love that.
no matter which age we are.
That's right.
My journey to healing started in my 30s. I'm 57 years old right now. 3 years ago, when the pandemic hit, I ventured into something else, and I received an invitation from this good soul for an interview for a chapter in a book.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. I was like, well, I have always thought that, I mean, I have gone through so much in my life
Mm-hmm.
that I could like write a book about it. And that was like just random thoughts all my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I'll do this interview. The interview was supposed to be 15 minutes. It became 45 minutes. I was chosen to write this chapter on this book about healing and being in the darkness, but always trying to reach to the light on the other side.
Oh, I
And
love it.
that is when I said, okay, I am going to say it all in 2000 words. And that was it. Yeah. Oh my God.
I love it.
It took me almost a year to write my chapter of 2000 words, because in order to see the light on the other side, you got to go through the darkness first. Oh,
Yes.
you gotta
Yes.
drown in the darkness, and
Right.
you gotta sob, and you gotta suffer, and you got to go
Yes.
to the deepest rooting of your pain in order to feel better, and that is a fact.
That's called
So when I
transcending. You're transcending it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So
Mm-hmm.
when I did my chapter in the book with 29 other authors, I started like relating myself to all of them. All of them came from different backgrounds, different places in the world, and they had their dark stories to tell with a much better ending. That's for sure. So after that, I started talking, and I still haven't shut up. And with
I love it. I love
and
it.
and then I said to myself, you know what? I love to help others. I've been helping others for such a long time. I've been a massage therapist for almost 19 years. I'm a canine massage therapist. I love animals. I love to help people. And I said, okay, it's time to go further. Let me start volunteering and helping
Awesome.
others.
Awesome.
So I started helping in the kitchen with meals on wheels for
Mm.
seniors with lower income, because my mamita, she receives meals on wheels. So it's like, oh, this is so wonderful. I can do this here. And then from there, I started volunteering at the animal shelter, and I massage battered and abused animals, dogs
Aw,
specifically.
I
Yes. And
love
then,
that.
yeah, and then from there, I am volunteering right now at this beautiful place that they give a permanent home to dogs from people that, from senior peoples that died, deployment or disabilities. So that is a huge one for me. And then a friend of mine, she approached me that offering me if I wanted to cooperate and volunteer for women that are survivors of sexual violence. And I said,
Wow.
that was like mind blowing for me. It's like, she doesn't know my story, but she approached me. And it was
Right.
for a huge reason. And that is one of the most beautiful missions that I can offer, is help to these survivors, because we are so scared of being
Mm-hmm.
comfortable in our
Mm-hmm.
own bodies. And massage therapy is so intimate. It's about you taking half of your clothes off and
Right.
laying on a
Right.
table. And that is when a lot of these survivors, they can be facing a lot of monsters,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they can be defenseless. And the director of this facility, she was a massage, listen to this, she was a massage therapist, and she was raped by a colleague.
Oh, wow.
So this went, I mean, this like just, it was so profound what I heard from her. And I said, you know what? I am going to help. I am going to help all of these women turn this around. And I offer my services for free. It's like, whatever makes you comfortable, we can start on you facing up, so you can feel my touch. You don't have to take your clothing off or anything. So it's been really, really
Wow.
helpful for them. It's been really, really helpful for me, because I'm a survivor myself, and to be more open and more comfortable in our skin. This is a very complicated situation for so many of us, that we have been silenced for so long, that we have
Mm.
been ashamed,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because just like you
Mm-hmm.
said, shame take us down the toilet big
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
I was in there, okay?
Me too.
I was in there for a
Mm-hmm.
long time. And with self-help and the proper help and the proper support groups and the proper people, and being surrounded by people that really mean as well as you and I do, forget it. Forget
Right.
it. It's gonna be, the outcome. I assure anybody that things are still gonna start getting better, much,
Yes.
much better,
Yes.
definitely. Hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that you touched on so many things in just this little interview. Oh my God. Like finding the light in the middle of the darkness, and finding that connection to being grateful, and realizing that you can overcome these things. But now you're also touching on the help which people need, right? So
Hmm.
I always say every therapist needs a therapist, every person needs a coach, every coach needs a coach, like that kind of thing, because I feel like
Absolutely.
we all need support in any
Hmm.
area, business, personal, financial, whatever. We
Absolutely.
need to stop being ashamed of things and understand that there are people here who truly and authentically want to help. And
Yes.
networking and being around others that are in that like-mindedness of overcoming will help you. And so
Oh,
you touched on
yes.
that too. So
Hmm.
connection and network was very, it sounds to me very important for you to get to where you are today, right?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely,
awesome.
Nina.
And what you're
And
doing is powerful, by the way, with
thank
those
you.
women. That's
Thank you.
powerful.
Thank you. And I'm working as well at two different rehab centers for drug addiction and alcohol abuse. I
Wow.
do massages. We are taking healing and recovery to a more holistic approach. Not only, they receive their mental health help and they get stabilized and all of this, but there is yoga, there's chiropractic care, and there is massage therapy.
Wow.
And I mean, there is an infinite amount of patients that I have massaged that they had no idea of how beneficial
Yeah.
massage can be. And we see these people in increments of 10 minutes, and in 10 minutes a world of a difference in their lives. And every time we come in with our tables and our stuff, they're jumping with joy and saying, oh my God, the best day of the week is Tuesday, Thursday, because you guys
Right.
are here. So that is very meaningful.
Yeah.
It fills me up with joy, and it's my pleasure to help all of them, because where they are, I could have been.
Mm-hmm,
Where
mm-hmm,
they are, my
mm-hmm.
ex-partner, rest in peace, he was there and he never asked for help. Mind you, he was a sexual violence survivor himself,
Mm,
and he never
mm.
spoke about it. He never spoke about it. He never did anything about it, and he succumbed into drugs until the
Yeah.
last day of his life. So
Yeah.
when I saw that, I mean, it's like, okay, this is his world, this is mine. We collided. I gotta go some other way. My route is just not gonna be this. It cannot be for myself and for the ones I love. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
So that's also decision making, right? That's also decision
absolutely.
making and
Hmm.
boundaries and knowing what your boundaries are.
Hmm.
I mean, you touched on so many beautiful things. And I gotta just say that, I never thought of massage therapy outside of just massage therapy. I never thought of it as a therapeutic thing for, violent sexual violence survivors or people who are surviving addiction,
Hmm.
because I realized that being a survivor of sexual violence and domestic violence and all of that, how kind and nice would it have felt to get a hug or
Hmm.
to feel a touch that wasn't punching me in the face. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
ma'am.
Like, so for you to be able to touch these women in a way that's safe and
Hmm.
kind when they have not been touched safe or kindly,
Yeah,
right? Is powerful
very
because
much so.
that is
Mhm.
that's a future thought too when they find the person of their dreams, the person who
Mhm.
really is going to love them authentically. When that person
Absolutely.
touches them kindly,
Mhm.
it won't be foreign. It won't
Yeah.
be scary. It'll
Yeah.
be, I know this feeling. This is
Yeah.
comfort, you
And
know?
that's so
That's so
wonderful what
powerful.
yeah, yeah, and that's so wonderful what you're saying, because in this beautiful career that I mean, I never stop learning as a
Yeah.
massage therapist. I absolutely love this career, and my own career helped me. I paved the way for better things in my life, and with my ex-partner and father of my kids, we have a domestic abuse relationship,
Mhm.
and it was more mental and emotional abuse than physical, but it got physical as well. And in the middle of all of this, I started with my massage therapy career, and I didn't get massage like for the first 7 years of my career. I'm going on 18 years, and I never got massage. I never got touch
Ah, it's
until
interesting. Mhm.
yes, until I started my healing process. And one of the books
Mm.
that I read, Nina, it was a recommendation: write in a piece of paper, what do you want in a partner? And I'm like, well, okay, I'll do that. 10 things. This partner didn't have a face, didn't have a body. I didn't know. I didn't know who this person was. And the book said, manifest it and say it to yourself as many times as you can. I was still involved in a domestic in a relationship that was full with domestic abuse, and I started reading that paper with every single molecule of my soul, and 3 months later I met my now husband.
That's
3
awesome.
3 months later I met
Wow.
Steve. We've been 10 years married already, and he is. the epitome, the definition of a gentle man is him. It's
Wow.
amazing,
Isn't
Nina,
that
and
cool?
oh my God, it's amazing. And I said, okay, this is what real partnership is. This is what
Yeah.
real love is. This is what real compassion,
Yeah.
support, passion, kindness. Oh
Yeah.
my God, yes,
Oh, I
yes,
love it. Don't you love
mhm,
it? I was just talking
yes,
to my husband about that because tomorrow we'll be 23 years married. Yeah, 23 years married. We've been together 26 years. And I just realized that. And we were in darker places in the beginning, but it was also because that was the beginning of my starting to understand that I was a victim.
hmm,
And so we both went down, but we both went up together as
that's
well. So
wonderful.
it's a
Hmm.
beautiful thing because once you start to uncover shame and you talk about it like, no, this is facts. I'm not going to sit here and boo hoo about what happened to me. This is
Yeah.
exactly what happened to me. This is how it happened. And I
Hmm.
am okay with that because I have strength. I have forgiveness in my heart. I have gratitude. I
Yes.
am blessed. I am highly favored. I am intelligent. I'm
Hmm.
wise. And you're also resilient. You got grit. You'll kick ass. You do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it
Yeah.
just, so all of the things that, like when somebody read my book, she said, how did you survive that? And how do you even
Hmm.
believe in God? I said, could you imagine me trying to survive that without God? And
Exactly.
she's like,
Amen.
"Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
think about that." I'm like, "Yeah."
Makes sense.
So it makes sense to me because that's
Yep.
how I survived it. But you know what?
Absolutely.
You have been an absolute gem to have on here. I'm
Thank
so
you.
grateful to have this conversation. Thank you.
Thank
And so
you.
if somebody wants to talk to you a little bit more about like what you do or maybe how they can incorporate it in their organizations or stuff like that, how do
Mhm.
people reach you? How can they reach you? Like find your book that you're in, all of that. Give us all that stuff.
Yes, my book is called Impact Leadership with Blanca Rodriguez. I'm available in Amazon Kindle and paperback. And I
Good.
have a website called the mentalhealthconcierge.net. And you can call me 772-475-0126. And my email is r.blancae@yahoo.com.
Wow, look at you.
Yes.
All right, got all the stuff ready. Blanca, honestly, I love conversations like this where somebody can be completely open and transparent and vulnerable. But in all of that, you kept dropping all of these gems for people. Like there's
Thank you.
so much in your story. Thank you so much for coming on Straight Talk and for sharing all of you with us. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
you.
having me, Nina. I'm
Oh,
sending
thank
you a
you.
huge hug
Back
here
at
from
you.
Florida. I just love this. Yeah, you're
Thank
wonderful. Thank you,
you.
Nina.
Oh,
Mhm.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Oh, man. And thank you guys for hanging out with me and Blanca today. I'm going to make sure to list all of her information below. It's going to be in the show notes so that you can contact her. And if you're somebody who maybe lives, outside of Florida, because I know I'm listening to it in a lot of countries, but if you're outside of Florida and you're a massage therapist and maybe you're like, wow, I didn't think about helping people in that way. You know what? Maybe Blanca would be a great resource for you to reach out to and to ask, how do we do this? What do we do? Network with her, find her book, do all of that, because as you can tell, she is truly an authentic human being, somebody that I
Thank
love to
you.
have on the show. And like I said, I find the best humans on the planet to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. So make sure that you like, subscribe, share, all that great stuff, because how else are we going to reach all of you amazing human beings out there, right? This is Neena
Yes.
Perez. This is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.
Israel is 5,690 miles away from the U.S., 11 hours by plane. Hate travels faster. In a comment, in a post, in a second. Jewish hate is up 388% in the U.S. Black hate, Muslim hate, and Asian hate are up too. When one hate rises, they all do. Let's stand up to all hate together. Share and wear the blue square from standuptojewishhate.org.